Unraveling the mystery. Whose versus whose? Hello everyone. Welcome back to our English language learning channel. In today's video, we're going to tackle a very common confusion in English grammar. Whose versus whose? Let's demystify this together. Before we dive in, let's define our two terms. Whose is a possessive adjective. We use it to show ownership or relationships between people or things. For example, whose book is this? Here, we're asking about the person to whom the book belongs. Whose is a contraction of who is or who has. It's used in questions and also in statements. For example, who's going to the store? This means, who is going to the store? Now let's look at some of the common mistakes people make when using these terms. 1. Whose phone is this? This sentence is incorrect because whose is a contraction of who is or who has, not a possessive. The correct sentence should be, whose phone is this? 2. Who's going to the store? Here, whose is being used incorrectly. The correct sentence is, who's going to the store? Remember, the key is to understand what you're trying to express. Possession or a contracted form of who is, who has. Here are a couple of tips to help you remember the difference. 1. If you're able to replace the word with who is or who has, then whose is the correct term to use. 2. If you're talking about something that belongs to someone, then whose is the right choice. To make sure you've grasped the concept, here are a few practice questions. 1. Blank. Hat is this? Is it whose or whose? 2. Blank. Going to the concert tonight? Is it whose or whose? 3. I wonder, blank, left this here. Is it whose or whose? The answers are whose, respectively. That's all for today's lesson on whose versus whose. Keep practicing these rules and soon enough, you'll find you're using these terms correctly without even thinking about it. Remember, practice makes perfect. Stay tuned for more grammar lessons and keep up the good work.